Welcome to Secular Soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else Amy and Amy want to talk about, because this is their show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity.
Want to hear a secret?
I won't tell anybody. Go ahead. If I sit next to you, I'm going to get gonorrhea. It's going to jump into me. Just two ladies hanging out.
Is it okay for me to make fun of his neck waddle if I make fun of my own neck waddle?
I'm not sure.
That's a real ethical conundrum.
Would you know if you were born a lizard person, or can you be like adopted into the...
I think you know.
We're such professionals.
You really are.
Buckle up, bitches. It's time to have some soup.
Hi, I'm Amy with an I.
And I'm Dell. Someday I'm going to figure out what I should say when that happens. I feel like I've been on enough times. I should have like a...
Dell with two L's. I don't know.
That rhymes. It's cute.
We're here with, just me. Amy's not here. Amy with a Y is not here. She's at a birthday party where the cake matches the plates, which is... That's special. It sounds...
Yeah, how do you feel about getting ditched for free cake?
I actually am not mad about it.
Okay, I'm just checking. Well, you got a superior replacement, let's be honest. So.
I 100% agree. We were talking about it. We were like, who should we ask? And I was like, well, Dell, I'm going to ask Dell first. And if they can't do it, I'm going to go down my list. Because, we have a list of people that we like having on the show and people that we get along with and people that we vibe with. So,
and I'm number one on the list. So, yeah, I get it.
Well, we just vibe well in person. We get along well. So it's all good.
That's right. Amy with an I and I finally got to meet in person.
It was so much fun. It's everything it was built up to be. You're drinking tea, right?
I am. I'm drinking iced tea on air
it looks like Jack Daniels out of the bottle. I'm like, wow, badass.
like a miniature Jack Daniels. Oh my God.
I've been through the Tennessee airport way too many times. I see those bottles everywhere. So I'm just like, okay, what is that?
I went to the Jack Daniels distillery a few weeks ago. It was like part of this conference I was at.
I was super upset that you didn't invite me because I'm always in Tennessee. You can just be like, hey, come on.
Did you want to hang out with cow people for 4 days? Because it wasn't that great. The cow people. There wasn't even
distillery people.
Oh, just for the distillery, right? So they told us to smell. Have you been to the distillery and toured it? Okay, so they literally take you to the actual factory where they're making it.
That's amazing.
And they open up the place where the corn mash is distilling, right? Fermenting or whatever. And they're like, put your head in there and take a big whiff. I literally almost puked directly into that.
That sounds gross. Fermentation stinks.
Well, it's like the burn of whiskey, just in your entire sinus cavity, and it's so strong, and it's also 120 degrees in there too because of the fermentation. It's super, super, super hot, and it was summer in Tennessee, so it was
that sounds terrible.
And I'm from a food safety perspective, how are they allowed to just keep opening this up for us? Because I legitimately almost puked in there, and
probably because it was so hot.
I mean, so the puke would
burn
just
it
get
off.
Yeah.
Plus alcohol kills germs. I don't know.
It just feels
probably okay.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna drink it anyway, so
not fun. Yeah, you're like, can I have the next batch?
Yeah.
The one that doesn't have my stomach contents in it. That would be super great.
It's like if you break it, you buy it. Now I have to buy that entire silo of whiskey.
They're like, hey, listen, Dell.
So
if that is your real name. Just kidding.
Did I tell you after AACon in April, I went through airport security wearing my name badge, with my fake name on it. I didn't get in trouble.
It's so funny. So I have this because my name is, we've already talked about Amy and we both have our aliases and stuff on our show because we just do. And it's so funny.
It's just smart.
Yeah, and on Facebook and everywhere, it's not my real name. And it's so funny because I went to this bar one time with this person that I know in person. He is a friend of the show. He's a friend in real life. Apparently didn't know my real name because I was checking out or what is that called? Closing out at night at the bar. And he came out, he was like, oh, I need this and I need this one. I was like, oh, that's not my name. I was like, hold on. That's not me. I had to like correct the bartender and he was like, what? We've known each other for like 2 years at that point. I was like, sorry. My bad.
Whoops. Whoops. Well, and in real life, I don't even use, because my last name's hyphenated. So like in real life, honestly, like I don't think anybody's ever called me by my actual like name on my driver's license.
Yeah,
like
I only use it at work. That's all I use it at is work.
No, at work I only use my maiden name, and like in my day-to-day life I only use my maiden name. But like if I get like a wedding invite from my husband's side of the family, they'll just use his last name.
Yeah.
So like nobody
So funny.
Nobody ever puts them both together except for like my doctor.
You know, mine is like, it's completely different. It's way off whatever, and only at work. And I have a friend that I was working in front of, and they came over. They're like, huh. It's like, yeah, don't actually look at that portion of my screen.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Don't worry about that. It's no big deal. None of your business. Don't look at my driver's license either. But yeah, it's just interesting how we actually have our own personas. Like that's who we are. That's actually who we are. It doesn't actually matter what the driver's license is.
Yeah, and all sorts of people do that crap all the time. And like, but
yeah,
you know, sometimes people have to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. Anyway. So I wanted to talk to you about because I didn't want to do a whole show of Skepticon recap because Amy and I just covered that, but you had a different perspective because you spoke at Skepticon and you did some presenting and stuff. So
yeah, and all my wonderful friends ditched my workshop that was inspired by an episode of Secular Soup that you and something you specifically, Amy, said on that episode.
I had to be at the airport. I was flying out.
I don't know why you bitches book flights at fucking 9 a.m. on Sunday for a conference that goes until 2.
Okay, it was Amy.
All of you people did. Rich, Amy, you all.
My flight didn't leave until like 3 something. Amy's left at like noon. So I rode to the airport with her so we could hang out and have like lunch and stuff. And then we went our separate ways.
Yeah, my thing still wasn't until like 2. So I mean, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would have. There's no way. But what was it that I said that inspired you? Please.
Yeah, no, okay. So Skepticon was great. I've actually never been. I technically attended one that was like virtual, but so
that's what I missed. Yeah.
Well, they did it 2 years, I think. And I went the first year, and honestly, like virtual conferences
doesn't hit the same.
Oh my gosh. And it's like I literally don't, like I just can't. Like I don't care. I can't do it. Yeah. It's not, I can't. I've been to one that kept my attention, and it was like a work thing, and it was like
about how's metabolism or something.
No, it was actually like mentoring queer undergraduates. It was like a career fair plus conference for queer engineering students, and they built in all this like really cool like mentoring where like you as the business professionals were like in small groups with like 3 queer like mid-career professionals and then like 3 or 4 queer undergrads, and like so cool. They had some prompts and stuff, and it was like giving life advice, and we all cried, and it was like it was so good. It was so good, and it was so sweet.
That one sounds good. I was just making assumptions with the cow.
No, I know. If it was cow metabolisms, I don't know. It would be a little harder. But if people are asking me for life advice, now that is something I can pay attention to. Like
that's actually I was joking. I was joking with a gentleman caller earlier. I was like, I'm going to have, Dell on the show, and I'm just going to tell them they're my life coach and just start unloading and say, okay, what do I do? You're my life coach now. Because
I mean, that's what I do for Amy with the Y now. So
I know, it's so funny. Like the faces. So that was the best thing about Skepticon was, besides all the other stuff, but like,
besides everything about Skepticon, right. It was amazing.
But like Amy was like doing her thing, and you and I would lean back and look at each other like the moments. Oh yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Oh yeah. So
I
did the thing where you like procrastinate a bunch and then like didn't answer messages, and then they were just like, well, we were looking for some workshops to plug into the last spot on Sunday anyway, so you can just do your thing then. And I was like, okay, cool. I mean, it was fine. We had like 6 people came, but that was perfect because they
Good.
told me they wanted the workshops to be really interactive. And I was like, that's cool. Cause I don't really have like a thesis statement of what I want to say. This is just like the topic I'm interested in discussing with the kind of people that go to Skepticon.
Yeah.
So it was perfect because we just like put our chairs in a circle and talked, which was what I wanted. It's
Yeah,
just
that's right. That's your brand, basically.
a lot of the other people did have presentations though. So I was starting to feel like it was going to be really weird. So I'm glad we didn't have like 30 people show up or something.
You just would have, you wish there were only 2 more.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
No, not Amy with a Y. I'm not worried about her. Because this doesn't really apply to her. So no, so what I wanted to talk about was like at my workplace, which is like one of the largest companies in the world, I am like the head, and Minnesota's where our headquarters is, where I live. I'm the head of our like pride thing for LGBTQ employees. And so like I arranged the pride parade. I'm having lunch with the CEO in 10 days to talk about pride stuff. I'm really trying to like push some stuff forward for like how our company can like be really strongly signaling like during, my vision is like during like recruiting events, especially like at the college level, that we're like strongly like at just an agriculture career fair and like we love queer employees here, or like something actually openly talking about it, because especially in agriculture, saying nothing means you're probably homophobic as shit, right? And I think
that's kind of a given. I mean, it's not a given, but it's kind of a unconscious bias in everybody's mind. Like, oh, that whole industry just
yeah. And think about if you're like the student, right? And so like it's always been this thing for me. Like I feel like being queer and like being a dairy farmer are both like completely like intrinsic to my being. Like I wouldn't be myself without either of those things. Like they are, and like absolutely not everyone feels that way about their like job or their career, but like some people do about like their careers depending on what it is, you know, like people that are like doctors or nurses or like a lot of different professions tend to have a thing where it's like you really feel like it's part of who you are, right? And to me, I always felt like those, being a farmer and being queer, are like both just fundamental to who I am. But there aren't really any spaces where you can actually be both of those things.
Right. You have to kind of switch gears from one to the other.
Yeah. And they're literally like, there's literally no place where you can just like feel comfortable. Because like it's getting better because there's like some cool leftists that are into like getting back to the land, but it's also but then are they into a bunch of like crystals and organic stuff?
That's the problem I'm running into, is there's so many people that are just like, what time were you born? But like seriously, what time were you born? I'm like, oh my God, can we just be skeptical about everything? Like, can we just like, can we not fall from one thing?
Yep. I can live with that to a certain extent.
It's fine. It's fine, but just don't actually believe it. Like that's where I'm at. Don't actually
literally believe it. So I went to the Humanists Association in Minnesota. Like I went to a meeting of them and I like had a good time, but like their president like introduced herself to me and was so excited to see a new face. And she was like, and you're like an organic farmer then, right? And I said, no, I'm actually not an organic farmer. I'm not sure that's really the right way to go from a sustainability perspective.
I agree. Yeah.
And I mean, and even the NGOs, like organic is really falling out of favor. Like we're making progress getting people to understand that it's literally just based on being anti-technology and there's nothing more sustainable about it. Like use the technologies that help you be more sustainable. Don't use the technologies that are shitty. None of that falls under the organic umbrella. Like that's not... Organic is just it's literally just the appeal to nature fallacy.
And aren't there more, I know it's not more pesticides, but aren't they more harmful to a certain sometimes? Or is that
just like
is that a misunderstanding on my part?
No, that's true in some cases. I mean, it's radically different depending on like what crop you're talking about. Like, so there's examples both directions, but yeah, there's plenty of chemicals that are allowed in organic agriculture that are toxic as fuck, because we all know the appeal to nature fallacy, like cyanide's natural, don't eat it, right? Aspartame is not natural, but it's actually fine for you and has
unless
less
you're
calories.
allergic to it. Right.
Right.
Just
So,
like it's like it's fine for you unless you're allergic to it.
yeah, so I went to this humanist thing and I was like, yeah, I'm actually not an organic farmer because, you know, I've examined some of the
kind of
the
bullshit.
principles and stuff, and I don't think I could run my farm as sustainably if I were. And the horror on her face, and then she like never, like she gave me dirty looks all day and like never spoke to me again. And apparently every new person that shows up to the Minnesota Humanist Association, she like tries to get on the board and like tries to get running a committee or whatever. And they like
Except
clearly
you.
didn't want me there at all. Like she was insulted
That's
that
super
I existed.
rude.
It was so rude. And so I have like a lot of friends in the atheist movement that do stuff with American humanists, and like I'm not going to put any time or money there. I mean, I have no idea if it's like just this one lady. I mean, she does run the Minnesota chapter, and like maybe I could push through it if I wanted to, but like I'm just like I don't want to.
Tired for that nonsense.
Shit. I don't want it. Like maybe some days I'm in the mood, but like I'm not. I didn't need that.
That's rude.
It was really rude. And you get the same thing from
you just insult me, like my career, my knowledge.
Oh, and I guarantee she doesn't know shit about it compared to me. You know, like I don't know her background, but I'm almost positive if that was her reaction to my like one sentence.
Oh yeah, she doesn't like, understand it.
I didn't just say like organic is shit or something. I was like, yeah, so there's actually a few rules there that those principles wouldn't work well. Like I said something like really balanced and like not insulting anyone or anything, but just saying
I kind of feel like organic's bullshit, but that's my personal. I'm not going to buy celery that I can get 98 cents or depending like less maybe for a bunch or $4. Like
yeah. Well,
it seems like
there are certain things that it does better, but none of the things that it does better are disallowed in non-organic, right? Like you can do all of the few good things that organic does do better. You can totally do as a non-organic farmer, but organic farmers are literally blocked from, for example, treating their animals' illnesses with real medicine. They only get homeopathy.
Nice. Yeah, that's bullshit.
So organic agriculture has single-handedly brought homeopathy hugely into the veterinary world, and now you have to like check the products and make sure it's real shit, because now it's all homeopathic remedies and fucking oregano oil and shit instead of
actually is infuriating to me.
Yep, it is.
I got in a yelling match once with my former sister-in-law in like a Kroger or something. I got in a yelling match because I grabbed the regular non-organic vegetables and threw it in my cart, and she was like oh. She was insulted. She was like, what are you doing? And she put it back, and I was like, no, it's like 5 times more expensive to buy organic. I'm poor. And so she like threw it back out and threw the organic in. I was like, no. And I put it back in. She was like, literally, she started screaming at me, and her appeal or her thing was, I used to work at Sprouts. I'm like, doesn't make you an expert. That literally makes you someone who's pandering to their bullshit. Like that's
yeah. And unfortunately, like there are definitely still practices in regular agriculture that like need to get their shit together, but so there's not really like some great choice out there, but there's just absolutely no reason to.
I was looking at the price. Mine was strictly price based, and
well, that's how a lot of people are. Like we kind of get lost in the like so many people have like loud opinions about it, but like seriously, like 85% of people are just like looking at the price. But then there's people that, especially like pregnant people and like mothers of like babies, who like feel so guilty if they can't afford the organic stuff, or like they literally don't feed their kids as much fruit and vegetables because they can't afford the organic fruit and vegetables.
That's so
and
sad.
That is like a serious negative outcome of this shit. Like it's
like it doesn't hurt your baby to make baby food from non-organic vegetables.
Mm-hmm,
like I did it. Or you can just buy the baby food. Like just it's.
Yep. People are. I feel so bad about it because like it's just companies literally preying on people. Like,
well, and she kept using the word carbon based wrong, because organic, it's like I don't
Carbon-based
know.
life forms.
But she kept saying carbon. She said, but organic is something carbon. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I was like, you don't understand. Everything is carbon based. Like, we are carbon based. Everything is carbon based.
Life forms.
And organic just means alive. And that's wrong. And I don't know. It was this whole thing. Like,
yeah. It sucks because people are like, they care about the environment, or they care about their health, or they care
she
about
used to
their
work
kids.
at Sprouts, so she knows what she was talking about. It was okay. Whole Foods. She worked at Whole Foods. That's what it was.
Yeah. So just like a wash in the marketing of why you should pay more money for this stuff, and you'll, die if you don't.
I was
Yeah,
obviously big
so
sad
sad.
when she unfriended me when I got divorced. I was like, oh no, we were so close.
But now
you mean you're not going to ask to move in with me so you can borrow money all the time? No. Oh, so sad. Big loss.
Big loss. Absolutely. Anyway, that had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
Well,
I'm sure.
Though. I think it was great.
Yeah, no, but if you get me down that path, we could talk about that forever. But no, so the thing I wanted to talk about at Skepticon was like,
oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
You said on the podcast something about like you get emails sometimes from like your pride committee at your work, and you just like delete it without reading it. And it was it was just interesting. No, that's fine. So it's just interesting to me because like you definitely saw it as like it's probably some bullshit. Like,
yeah, I work for a large international company and I see nothing, no representation, nothing. There's a Teams group, Microsoft Teams group that's the LGBTQ that I'm in that is zero. There's no activity. And then during the month of June, I get a bunch of emails and that's it. The rest of the year, there's nothing. There's no representation. There's nothing. There's no highlight on our queer members, highlight on this. No. So that's why I delete them, because I really feel like they literally don't care.
Yeah. And that's what I'm curious about. And like I wanted to talk about like that a little bit, like how people that work for corporations like feel about it. And what's interesting to me as I went through Pride Month, because at the time you said that it was not Pride Month yet, I don't think. And I don't know. I was just like
coming up on, or maybe we had just ended it, but we recorded the episode during Pride Month.
So
because they don't say anything. They don't say anything all year.
I was like deep in like putting a ton of work into like planning our Pride Month, which is just like all voluntary because I'm fucking salaried. So like just on me, right? And I think that like most like companies' pride groups are the same way, right?
It is. I would love it if they actually, I mean, I guess there's no way they can know, because there is not really a way to be out, at least at my company. So
yeah, it's not like you're gonna. Yeah, so I was just thinking about, and like as I went through my first Pride Month as an organizer, like the dynamic between like how much of this Pride Month shit is actually by straight people for straight people.
Yeah.
And like not like, so we had 130 people from our company come to march in the Pride Parade for our company, like in like our rainbow shirts and stuff. And like, but like I guarantee you like over probably 120 of them were straight. And like I have a co-lead and he's just like a straight ally. And we got a person to help us with the parade. And like both me and him, like we had never been to a pride thing. He had never been out at work before. He was really nervous and uncomfortable about being like out in this environment. But like as soon as he saw how much work we needed, and like he's an expert at event planning. So he just like, he said like 3 weeks before the parade, he was literally like, I'm not sure I can even do this.
Aww.
But then like just jumped into the work and like made it happen. And it's been really awesome. And he's going to stick with us and keep chugging along. But like, it's like so much extra work for a queer employee to like make it their personality at work, right? Like you risk so much.
And so no one at work knows that I'm not 100% straight. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm just, I'm queer. I don't even know. So I don't even know where I'm at, and I don't say anything, but I work from home. I have worked in the office, but I work from home now, and I just don't talk to anybody about anything.
Right. So it's not relevant
it's not really relevant. If I were in office, maybe it would be more, but even then I have been in the office. I just don't talk to anybody. I don't know.
Mhm.
But it's
And,
also
like-
the culture. Like it's a corporate world. Like I don't talk to
Right.
anybody. So
Right. Well, and it's like,
I don't
I
know.
think it's better than doing nothing to like, okay, so
I
we
agree.
have like a lot of the events that we put on are honestly just like more educational events for allies and stuff, which like how do you like walk the line between like making like fooling the straights into thinking that like this is a great place and anybody who's wants to be out could totally be out and would never worry about backlash because look at all the fun pride flags we put up, when it's like, no, your work isn't finished, but also yes, we should keep doing this. This is better than not saying anything.
I
Because
think
like,
it's hugely important. It's
right.
well, so the thing is, I think I'm a bad example because I don't need to feel seen.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I think you're
but
a
I
great
think-
example though.
But
Like
I
I
think there's so many people that might need to know that their work actually sees them or
right.
cares or has some kind of like understanding of what it's like.
I think that a lot of people, like once you're like, I don't want to call us middle-aged, but
Speak for yourself.
once you're past 25,
Let me turn my
or so,
light down a little more. Just kidding.
once you're past 25 or so, I
Mhm.
think you're like, you kind of know how you show up to work, right? And like if it's
Yeah.
and I think the value in this kind of shit is like
I am quiet at work. I am just
a lot of people are though. Like a lot of people don't, like they just want to do their job. They want to get their paycheck.
I don't want to. Those are not my friends. Those are my coworkers.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends that, or a couple people that if they say, "Hey, you want to go get margaritas?" I'm going to say yes. But
Right.
overall, I don't talk to people outside of work. I don't hang out with people outside of work. I don't talk to people
Yeah.
while I'm in work unless it's work related. And I do my 8 hours or 12 or 15, depending on the day, and I leave. And
Right.
I'm done. So
And I actually think that's like really typical, which is why I think you're like a perfect example, Amy. And so the thing is like, I think the only value that these groups are bringing is like, at least you know that the emails exist. And like, if it becomes a problem, like the more you hear about it, even if you're not going to like run around being out and proud at work, even if you're not going to attend any of their shit, you're not going to read their emails, the more you hear about it and the more they at least are virtue signaling or whatever, the more confident you are that if it ever comes up or becomes a problem, that somebody might have your back.
that the company actually has made a stand. The thing that I actually do really, really respect about my company, like I said, it's a giant international mega corporation. It's gross. They made a stand about when the
Is yours publicly traded? Mine is owned by a small family of billionaires.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure mine's publicly traded. I'll have to look it up. I'm pretty sure it is. But they made a stand about vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got an email because I live in Texas, and Texas is gross, and it has trigger laws in place when the Roe versus Wade was overturned, which is horrifying. My email, I got an email from corporate saying that traveling to another state would be considered medically necessary, and they would cover it. So that's actually like that email also showed where they are. Like all of the emails I had during Pride Month, along with that one, along with their vaccine stance, like I kind of get an idea
Did
of
yours cover
where they're at, you know?
Traveling for gender or transition care or traveling for anything?
It's covered in the
in ours had that too.
Yeah, but they specifically mentioned abortion in that email after the trigger laws went in place in Texas because that's where a lot of their offices are located. And it specifically said in these states with trigger laws, abortion, and it said specifically abortion. I was just like, holy crap. Like, you don't expect a corporation to do that. But part of me, I'm also very skeptical. And I am, looking at them like, you just want us to think you're cool. But also it's cool in the right direction,
Yeah.
So,
No.
and so like all in the same thing, like the Pride emails, that the vaccine policy, like you're not allowed in the building unless you've had all of your vaccines.
Nice.
They made us all take a survey of how many vaccines we've had and the dates and a picture of our vaccine cards.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't say that you would be let go because we do work virtually at the moment. But if we do go back in the office, people could lose their jobs. So that's I don't like my job, but I don't hate the company. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like with all this stuff, and kind of like the note that I ended my conversation with them on is like it's always never going to be enough, but it's always better than nothing. And so
exactly.
like there's totally room, and it's totally right to talk about both the fact that you can't just signal bullshit, you actually have to show up. The problem isn't actually
Right.
solved just by sending out these emails, but also acknowledge that we'd rather have these emails go out than them never
Absolutely.
say a word, right?
If Pride Month, if they just ignored Pride Month, which other companies I've worked for have,
Mm-hmm.
that would be more concerning than me having to delete emails, you know?
Right, because you're like, okay, great, I roll Pride Month.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Focus on the CEO. How original. Delete, delete, delete. You know? Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, and just like the
Like spotlight on the CEO. No.
yeah, our CEO always comes and like marches in the parade, and everyone's always like they were like, wow, really? And I'm like, yeah, he's been doing that since like
Pretty
2015,
sure my
guys.
CEO is in India, so he's not going to march in the parade.
There's probably a pride parade somewhere in India. I
I'm
don't
sure,
know.
but he's not marching in our parade in Dallas. So no.
Yeah, so I'm like, and then so that's one thing, is just like, you know, are these organizations like actually doing anything for queer employees? And I just like wanted to talk to
No.
people about what their perspectives on that were, because I don't know, just like I've been going through a year of like coming into leadership and getting really involved in this. And the reason that I decided to be like loudly out and proud when the opportunity presented itself was just because there is nobody fucking doing that in agriculture. And so I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm in a safe place where I can do that. I mean, my pronouns are she, they in my email, and I have not discussed my gender identity, but I had them write a big article on me being bisexual and like about bi erasure, and I was on a panel with some other queer employees.
Pick a side.
Yes. And I was on a panel with some other queer employees in which like some of the things the other queer employees had to say were like problematic. Like there was this like older gay dude who was just like, it's going to be fine. Just bring your spouse wherever you go. It'll be great. And I was like, no, if you don't feel safe, you don't have to do that.
So why is it? Is it just me? I mean, it's obviously not just me. The old gay men are kind of literally the worst at this point.
Yeah.
Like I worked with this old at my last company. I thought he was like a Trumper because he was like this older white beard, kind of like Santa vibe. And then he
Mhm.
started talking about his husband, who was like 20 years younger than him, and he was such a hottie and whatever. And so he's great. Like I love this man. Like he's my friend. We are Facebook friends. We text each other occasionally. But he like voted for Trump, and he's so Republican, and I'm like, I asked him point blank one time. I was like, why are you voting against your best interest? Like, what is wrong with you? And because it was abortion, it was the values, and it was blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, you're gay. Like, I like literally said that to him. Like, but you're gay. Like, you are an oppressed minority. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
The
Like,
Republicans don't want you, bud.
your marriage doesn't even count to them. You are an assault on their straight Christian whatever
Family values.
yeah, and he doesn't get it. He's like in his late 50s, early 60s, and he doesn't give a fuck. Like I just wanted to like we would go outside to the smoking area, and neither of us smoked. We would just sit there and talk, and I would be like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
it never, I don't know. He still likes me apparently because we still text, but so frustrating. But I have been out at work, just not at this company, because I have worked remote the whole time.
Yeah.
When I have been in office, I have been more open about who I am, my values, my sexuality. Well, not so much my sexuality, but my identity. And stuff. So I've been more open, and I've dressed up on Pride months, and there was wear red and wear this color this day or whatever, and I always did that. So
nice. Yeah.
just not now, which is weird because this company seems to be the most open of ones that I've worked in since I became an adult.
But if there's not like a natural opening for it, like what are you gonna do? Just like show up to a meeting and be like, "Hey guys, I'm queer.
I'd have to talk in the meeting. It sounds terrible. I leave myself muted and my camera off, and then when they leave the meeting, I don't even say bye. I just leave. There's so many times, unless I'm asked to speak in the meeting, I don't speak in the meeting. I show up, I leave it on going while I go make tea, and then I come back and I just leave the meeting. So, which is because I'm like
keeping my mouth shut ever. So
I am pretty good at it because I'm in this really sweet spot of I'm like lower mid management. And so I don't have to do the meetings. Like no one, if anybody else shows up, I don't have to do anything. And so I just am there for representation, for lack of a better word, and then I leave. And so no one needs to know what I have to say. No one needs to know what I feel. No one needs to know where I stand on things. I don't care. I'm gone. And then I just do my job and I leave.
See, I wish my job was just talking at people and not actually doing work.
I wish I could talk. I wish I could do the meetings and not do the work that I do. But that's the next level of management, and I'm not there yet. So, but yesterday, I'll tell you and all of everybody, I officially registered for school, which I put it off for very long because I am very scared. So I officially registered for my master's program. Yay.
I was gonna go back for my master's in September, and then I literally just couldn't get the time to fill out the application. So,
well, when's the deadline? Because my school doesn't start until August 29th.
It was March 15th, and then they told me I could have until June 1st to like apply. I mean, honestly, they might even like
you can still apply for spring.
Yeah, and like honestly, they might even let me in for fall because they were so excited about me. Mostly because of the company I work for, and they were launching this new program.
Then we can sit there and cry together, because that's what made me so scared to do it, because I was like, I know what's coming workload wise.
Yeah.
Plus imposter syndrome. Like, am I smart enough? Am I good enough?
So
whatever.
2 full-time jobs and a master's program. Exactly. Why would I not? Like,
that's me too. And 3 kids. And and my lease is up in January, and I'm like, I might move then too. Just throw it all at it. And that's just sounds
I fucking hope I never move again.
Well, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment where they don't do maintenance ever. So,
I actually do hope I move. I told my husband our new life goal. So there's this millionaire that lives like a block away from us. Like there's like 4 houses on our lake, and there's this millionaire that lives like 2 houses away. So he's on our lake. Like we can see his house. And it's not like that. It's not like a mansion. Like it's probably worth like $1 million.
Right.
So it's not like totally unachievable as far as, $1 million doesn't get that much these days. Right.
I know. And it's disgusting, actually.
And I said, new life goal. Let's hope to retire to that mansion.
Just 2 doors down. Yeah. And you just hire movers. I will never move my own stuff again.
And then we can our kids or whatever can take over the farm, and we will just live in that mansion, like 2 blocks away. And
when you say kids, do you mean goats? Are you saying goats?
No, I don't think baby goats would be very good at milking cows. But no, we're hoping to foster like queer teens.
Their little hooves.
They are so tiny and cute.
So cute. I want some. I don't actually want them, but they're so
cute. Rich has goats. He'd probably send us pictures of them if we asked for them.
I could just drive to Colorado and get them. Oh, so I was going to ask you to give Rich a new number because Amy was super mean, but fair. So I figured you could do another number.
I'm doing 11th favorite Rich.
That's fair because you met him in person, so you know where he's at, and 11th's fair. I was going to say 28th, but I'm also mean, so.
No, I'm always too nice to Rich when I come on this program. I've actually received complaints from both of you about it, I think. So especially other Amy.
Why? I'm sure.
A lot of complaints about how nice I am to Rich. So I'm just going to keep with that tradition.
We were talking about that everybody assumes that Amy is the one that's going to be like super, super mean and like, trick you with a pie and then like pants you or something. But in reality, it's probably me that's going to be sitting there eating the pie already and then like attack you. So.
And Amy's just going to like give you cool vintage costume jewelry.
And hand you the pie. Like she will scowl the whole time while doing it.
Yes.
But she literally looks like the person that's going to attack you, and it's not. It's me. It's like 100% me. I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. I'm actually meaner than her. Like deep down at my core, I am a mean person. So yeah.
I think Amy would like to be a meaner person, but the Minnesota nice veneer, it sort of holds you back, you know?
Right. And so the Mormon niceness didn't really take because I was raised by a very mean mother. So it just, my natural instinct is to fight the nice. So yeah.
Yeah. It's my parents are the judgiest people on the planet. My mom was literally over today and she goes to my husband and was like, your lawn is out of control.
Out of control.
Like it was a little long, but who gives
you have a ruler out there? She's like,
fucking lawn.
God.
I mean, it was kind of long, but like we don't do anything to it. So only like little pieces of grass were long, like not all of it. It wasn't like difficult to walk through or something, right? And we have had a drought, so it's honestly been like 2 months since we mowed because it was brown until a week ago. And like she meant it as like a funny joke quip, and it's just like, no, you're just being mean though. I don't know why you're saying it in like a funny voice, because you're actually just being kind of rude. And like no one cares about our fucking lawn. You and the milk truck driver are the only people that see it. I really don't give a shit about my fucking lawn.
Milk truck?
The milk truck driver has to pick up milk every 48 hours.
Okay, pick up milk. I was thinking like the 50s. I got confused for a second.
No, like the big semi of milk. It really sucks on the weekends because he comes at 8 and I kind of oversleep on the weekends, and then I'm not done milking at 8, and then he has to kind of just like sit there and be like, how soon are you going to be done? And
like,
then
how soon are you going to mind your fucking business?
And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's only a few cows left. And then I try to think of like a weird excuse for why I was late, because I'm definitely not a terrible dairy farmer that's definitely late a decent amount of the time because
you're sleeping in. Oh man.
Because this is fucking hard and I need sleep.
Yeah, it's too hard.
And mornings suck.
We need to go on like a girls' trip sometime. Just,
for sleeping.
Sure. I was thinking of just like hanging out and drinking, but yeah, we can also sleep afterwards.
You're interested in drinking. I'm interested in sleeping. Excellent life priorities.
It's the thing that we didn't get when we were younger.
Actually, I'm mostly interested in dressing up really hot. That's my main.
Okay, so I want to go. I keep telling Amy, I'm like, we need to go on a cruise. I told Amy, I don't have
to dress up hot on cruises.
Why not? We can dress up however we want.
I've never been on one.
I told Amy, I was like, let's go on a cruise for Christmas. I don't have the kids. And she was like, she had like 20 excuses. And I was like, dude, it's going to be nice. Like we can go on a cruise, go hang out. I don't have my kids. Like, let's do this thing. But 20 excuses.
I wonder, are they going to do the, like the Women of Color Beyond Belief cruise? They've done that in the past. That'd probably be really
I don't know.
fun.
I should ask Mandisa. Because
like everybody's welcome to just like support the cause. It's just you just have to be respectful, and then all of their speakers. They've done it in the past.
Yes, like we should do that. We should go on a cruise with like you, me, Amy, Mandisa. A bunch of like Hertzy can come. Like that would be amazing. Like, yes. Okay, we have a crew.
Yeah. But I was very excited about Skepticon and all my fun outfits.
Your outfits was so fun. And that picture that Josiah took of you was like stunning. That outfit was great that day.
It was. I love that jacket so much. So now I'm trying to figure out what I can wear to QED, because I don't think I can wear that stuff to QED. Like I know technically I haven't been to Skepticon, but I just like felt so confident that Skepticon would be a completely safe place to just wear whatever I would wear if I wasn't worried about being harassed, right?
Fair. Yeah.
That is what I wanted to do. I wanted to wear whatever I would want to wear if I wasn't worried about being harassed.
Because there are the other people there. So fair.
Well, and like I don't know like what the vibe of like the hotel is, or like, you know, I just don't know as much about it, and I don't know as much about who I'm going to be hanging out with. Like, I kind of know who I'm going to be hanging out with, obviously. Like, I have a roommate arranged and stuff. But I'm just like less certain about how far I can push it.
I really want to go to QED one of these years. I so badly want to go to QED. I just need to get my passport. So
mine came in the mail. Finally, I was worried about, it took me 9 years to get the executive function skills to get my passport. I never got it after I got married 9.5 years ago. So.
Yeah. So I just haven't, I haven't gotten it yet. And I want to go places. I want to do things and just.
I'm glad that QED finally forced me to do it. I mean, I still had to have like, by the end, I ran into all this trouble because of COVID and getting a copy of my marriage license. And there was like COVID rules at
I need a marriage
county.
I need a marriage license because my name is different.
And if you did you change it when you officially got divorced? Because then you need the divorce certificate too. And then they moved the county hall from one building to another. So then they were like closed and had a bunch of weird rules from that. And I finally was just like, oh my God, it's like 6 months to QED. And I told my husband, I was like, I just need you to figure out how to get me a copy of my fucking marriage license. Like, this is a thing that will take you a half an hour. I have been stuck with it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Just anything you can do to get me a copy of that, we will be good. Like, I went and took my passport photo in like fucking December or something, and I did not mail it until like April.
Jeez.
It was very frustrating. But it's here now, and now I'm good for 10 years. And now, hopefully, I just won't change my name again, and it'll be great. And fine.
So apparently Rich just created a group with you and I and sent pictures of goats. Was he listening?
I assume so.
I didn't see anybody listening, but maybe. That's hilarious.
Either that or Rich is psychic, which would be creepier. I mean, the patrons are allowed to listen.
Yeah, but I usually can see the count of how many people are listening. The pictures, it's like far up, but it's adorable.
It's far away though. It's just teasing is what it is. Cause it's like, look at those goats' fat butts, but we can't actually see their
I think I'm going to have to overrule your 11th for 45th at this point because he can't even take a good picture. So be better. Do better.
Goats. I tried, Rich. I tried for 11th. 11's a nice number. I thought it would be.
It is a nice number. I prefer 15 because it's divisible by 3 and 5 and I'm a weirdo, but that's, I'm going to go with 45.
And I like 11 because it's not divisible by anything. So it's a very special
one in itself. That's true.
It's true numbers.
It is a prime number.
So, is there anything else you wanted to like talk about? I don't know. What do we miss about Skepticon that hasn't been hit on any of your
recaps? It was okay. So it was super fun and amazing, and I want to go back, and I want more people to come because it's the only free skeptical humanist convention. There's a lot of queer representation, which is amazing. Like everybody feels safe. Everybody feels welcome. There's gender neutral bathrooms everywhere. Like everything is just, it's a safe place to be. And like Dell said, you don't feel like you're going to get hit, like not hit on or like inappropriate comments or anything pretty much anywhere. Like I felt safe everywhere.
Right. And it's not that it's not like sex positive. It's just that like people are very chill
they're just open.
Like, you're super hot. And also that doesn't come with like any pressure or like creepiness or weirdness, right?
The only time there was weirdness is when we left the convention area out into like the normies. And that was
and I was dressed in a corset and a pentagram.
And I was wearing things that were cut down to my belly button practically. So yeah, and that although that cop would have let us in the wedding. 100% because the dress was cut down to my belly button pretty much. So
we didn't crash the wedding.
We didn't crash the wedding. We could have crashed the wedding because we were invited to crash the wedding by the bride's cousin. So she has no idea the bullet that she dodged by us not crashing that wedding. Well, she looked stunning and she had a dog in her wedding party. So, you know, I wasn't going to crash our wedding.
The dog was very sweet.
The dog was so cute. I just wanted to yell at her like, don't do it.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Like, I like going to the atheist conventions because I do feel like living out here in the middle of nowhere, I really have no opportunity to dress as myself really much at all. But Also, the other thing is, like, I feel like outside of Skepticon, even at some of the other conferences, I am gonna get like hyper feminized too.
Yeah.
Which I felt a little better about Skepticon. Like, I just felt a little more comfortable with it, that like, I don't know, it just didn't bother me as much because I know that like such a high percentage of people there are queer, that it was just like,
Which is
I
so
know
great.
this isn't, I knew that the people there wouldn't be like, oh, your gender identity isn't valid because you're dressing so femme, right? Like, I knew that it wasn't going to bring up that bullshit,
The
right?
thing that bothers me, and I've been critical of other podcasters in the past. The thing that bothers me is these other big people should want to come to the one that's so queer representative.
Right.
They should
I think
want
it's
to
like a
be.
white flight thing. It's
Honestly,
like white
they
flight,
should
but
want
with
to
the queer
come.
people and the women.
Like Amy and I are super excited to be the people that come, and we're like, yes, this is the place where we feel wanted and seen and heard and whatever. We feel like it's our people. They should want that too. Like they honestly, like, I'm gonna name it, like Noah, Heath, and Eli, and Tom and Cecil should absolutely show up there. They should, especially Tom and
They
Cecil.
have in
because
the
it's
past, haven't they?
I don't know. Not in the years I've been.
I think that they have.
I mean, Chicago's not far from St. Louis. They can literally cross the river. So it's not that hard for them to literally show up and actually have some queer fans see them there, seeing them, like feeling supported. Like it should. And it's the one that's free. So it's people that aren't, financially fluid. Like,
Well, two things. So I think that some people of that caliber, and I'm absolutely not speaking specifically for any of the people you named, but I think that some people of that level of popularity expect to get invited to be a speaker, and that's why they come to things, right?
Yeah.
And so if they don't get like specifically called out and invited, it's not even, they don't even think about coming to something.
They should though.
But like the point of Skepticon is to, one of the points of it is to platform like
new people, like
the voices of
younger
underrepresented people.
Yeah.
So like, it's not about platforming those people.
How huge would it be if those podcasters came and sat in an audience for a panel?
Yeah.
Like how huge would that be for them also? Like this will boost them also, and the people speaking on the panel, especially if it's like a, like you said, like a queer in the workplace panel, and all of those top tier atheist podcasters are in the audience. Like that is huge.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not doing
about
that
it this year. And like,
yeah,
not I didn't go hard on it though. So like next year though, I think I am going to go hard on it with them. Like
I'm not nice to them because I don't know, like Tom unfriended me. Like a couple other people have unfriended me.
Oh, Tom unfriended like everybody.
I know. I wasn't offended. I wasn't offended. I was just like, but like I was just like, you guys need to actually continue to want to drum up your base, not just coast. So
yeah, well, this is exactly the thing that we were talking about at the beginning though, where it's like, okay, you guys are doing something and that is awesome. I'm so glad you're doing it. Also,
and they paved the path for a lot of people, not women.
Also, it's not enough. Well, I mean, I found Marissa and Callie both through, I don't remember whether it was Puzzle in a Thunderstorm or Cogdis, but like I found Callie and Marissa.
Well, I found everybody through Smalley, so that doesn't really count. So
yeah, how'd that work out? No,
I mean, I'm still friends with his ex-wife. So
yeah, and so it's like constantly being like, you did good things and you're doing things better than a lot of other people.
Right. Like way to not be as bad as religious people.
Also, I'm literally never going to be satisfied that you're doing enough, because you're always going to be more famous and more successful than the underprivileged people.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like, so it's always going to be like, I'm always going to be pressuring you to do more, and I'm always going to be pressuring you
to use your platform. Use your platform. And so I have this gripe too, where they don't use their platform to promote people that are.
I feel like they used to more.
They used to more. Like they used to have Marissa on, like you said. They did. They had Callie on all the time. They had a bunch of other people that I've seen Thomas on. All kinds of people.
Rich sent a close up of a goat, and it's great.
Okay, let me check.
It's great. I'm so sorry. I just it was very. I love it.
Okay, he must be listening because I don't see him listening, but he must be listening. Yikes. That's so cute.
It's a goat. It's
I know.
very goat-like.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say or anything you want to close with?
No, I mean,
Where can people find you?
I'm nowhere really because I would love to do more stuff. I would really like the time to do more stuff. I want to talk about this agriculture stuff so fucking bad. I did do something. So speaking of people who are doing something, but I'm going to continue pushing to do more, The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, which has 500,000 listeners. I got to do a big guest spot on their live stream this winter.
Nice.
So it's like back in January. And if you found any of my cow stuff interesting or like listening to me interesting, please go watch that stream because it was really cool. And I would really like, they were open to me coming back and they had a good time. And I would really like to keep doing that because I think it's a great way to spread the message that I'm trying to spread about just like how do we actually get a more sustainable food supply using science and technology, not using like fear and pseudoscience and whatever else. And those guys are great and they're usually right whenever they talk about that stuff, but they're not experts in it. So they don't always know like the depth of things that I do. And so that live stream, it was in like January, and
it'll be in the archives. They'll find it.
The first like 10 or 15 minutes are just like one of them going on a political rant. So like if you want to skip that, you can just skip to where I make my entrance. And then you can see an adorable cow and get to listen to me talk. And I need to get back in touch with them. We just haven't been able to find a date that works for me to come on again. So if you like friend me on Facebook, because then you'll see hopefully when I like promote that kind of thing. And also hopefully going to be on Embrace the Void coming up soon, talking about this kind of stuff too. So putting my philosophy degree and my animal science degree to good work. So yeah, I'm just trying to like do more of those guest spot things since I just don't have the bandwidth for a whole podcast right now.
It's a lot of work. Like I didn't realize how much work it was until I had one, and then it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So
it is a lot of work.
And
also, everyone who's listening should come to Skepticon next year. And also,
yes, come to Skepticon.
If the dates for
encourage other people to Skepticon, like come to Skepticon.
If the dates for Skepticon don't work, there are other conferences. Us queer weirdos absolutely find each other and like
always do.
The other conferences that I've been to, like they're not bad. They're just not as like overwhelmingly
queer
and weird, right? But they're still like great and welcoming, and we are pushing them to be even more queer and
well, the more of us show up, the more of a wave it's going to be. Like if NanoCon wasn't the same weekend, I would have gone to NanoCon this year. I was kind of bummed that it was the same weekend because usually it's staggered. Usually Skepticon's a little later in August.
Yes, and that's why I can never go because it's always the same weekend as the Garlic Festival, which I have to run.
Which because this was the weekend. It was like 3 years ago because I was getting my Facebook memories of it today.
Yep.
So this is Skepticon normal weekend. So yeah, and Garlic Festival was yesterday. So
and Garlic Festival never.
And NanoCon was 2 weeks ago, and that's usually the same. It's usually early August. So yeah.
So come to stuff.
Come to Skepticon.
A lot of these conferences also, if you reach out and you're like, I want to go, but I don't have the money, a ton of these conferences have like sponsored, like people donate. Like when I went to Skepticon, I gave them like extra money when I signed up to help. Too. And like at AACon, I didn't do it formally, but like someone showed up that didn't have the money to like buy into the conference because it was like $200. And me and somebody else that were standing there, like, she was a trans woman from rural Georgia. We were like, you're not going home. So we just like split her entrance fee because there's just so many people willing to help if you ask, and like the conference organizers will hook you up with people. So if the reason you can't go is because you're like looking at the money, try reaching out.
Because the fact is, we want you there. Like
absolutely.
That's the bottom line is we want you there. We want to meet you. We want to talk to you. We want to hang out with you. We want you there. Do you really think we want to hang out with Tom all weekend? Like, come on. Come on. Like, we want to hang out with you guys. That's who we want to hang out with. Let's be real. We want to go back to the room and do whiskey or tequila shots and drink whiskey. And see, I go back to alcohol. It's my problem.
And if I'm with my peeps, I will wear a corset to
Dell will wear a corset.
conferences.
You might
other
even get
than-
flashed, or is that just me? I don't know.
You might, if you end up back in the hotel room with
Play your
me,
cards
and
right.
you might have to help me soak my boobs in olive oil to take the tape off them, because I read that is the appropriate way.
That is smart.
That's the way you're actually supposed to get the tape off without ripping your skin off, like I did, is soak them in olive oil for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So you may even get to help with those activities if you show up to these conferences
Just have
and
two
make
mixing bowls out there, and you're just like, just hanging them in, just free.
just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to marinate for like 15 minutes. So
God. We'll just turn on something. We'll watch a cooking show. We'll watch Duff and whatever, do the cookie challenges or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, that's thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you filling it for Amy.
absolutely.
You're much more delightful than Amy for sure. Like hands down.
That's fair.
Not
I
as
mean,
far.
we're both from Minnesota, but I am just like slightly better in a number of ways. So
It's fair. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the show.
I'm mentoring her though. Like
Oh,
we're gonna
good.
get her there, okay?
I hope so. I'm also mentoring her. I'm giving her. She's in bitch school with me, so I don't know what school she's in with you.
Slutty school or something. I mean, just
I
like in
also do that, to be fair, but
Yeah,
mine has
well,
a
it's a
bitch turn. Like
team effort.
it is a team effort. That's why we leaned back and we were like, the eye contact was the best. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. You can leave if you need to, and it's fine.
Yeah, well, you know, I need to milk cows at some point here.
All
So
right.
I overslept this morning though, so the cows they're not in a rush. They're actually a little confused about life.
That's great. It's always great having you on the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks to all of you motherfuckers who put up with the Amy's droning on week after week. If you enjoy their delightful bitchcraft, please follow them on all of the social medias and send them all of your money on Patreon or PayPal. You can find them on these platforms by using the Google machine. It's not hard. If you want to bitch with other fans about the show, join the Secret Soup Talk Facebook group. If you want to tell Amy and Amy to fuck off personally, you can send an email to secularsouppodcast@gmail.com, although it may go unanswered. Please rate and review the show on iTunes, Facebook, and wherever else you can review things like this. It will help spread the soup gospel far and wide. And hey, text someone right now. Tell your friends. As always, we'll leave you with the vocal stylings of Mr. Eli Bosnick.
Secular soup greed. Soup is the ultimate virtue. It's delicious, nutritious, patriarchy smashing, racism fighting, warm and fuzzy, human affirming, fun having, anti-theist, glitter throwing, tummy satisfying, pair of new shoes fulfilling, diversity seeking, happiness. Minestrone, beef and barley, chicken broth and split pea, gazpacho, tomato, clam chowder and potato, chicken noodle, beef noodle, egg drop and ramen cup, miso, gumbo, leek and pho. Grab a bowl and taste the magic. Slurp even this.